everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the Thanksgiving book tag. I saw Bookables do it, I want to say a few days back, and I was inspired to do it myself, but unfortunately I just didn't get around to doing it until the actual day. Today is Thanksgiving, and I actually just got back from visiting family. The original tag was created by Fangirl City. I'll leave the original video and the Bookables video down in the description box below. I know I was just saying today's Thanksgiving. Today's Thanksgiving in the USA. I know Canadian Thanksgiving is a different day, and I don't know, I doubt anywhere else actually follows the holiday. Let's get into the tag. The first question read, what book is purely fluff and has no real plot line? This might be an unpopular opinion, but a book that I thought that was mostly like just the drama between a relationship rather than an actual like plot line was Middle Game by Shannon McGuire. The overall story is these twins are born because this alchemist wants to basically get them to manifest the doctrine, and them getting the doctrine makes him all powerful, which in turn makes him all powerful. But to be completely honest, we never really saw this alchemist. It was strictly following these twins as they grew up, which is nice. It was interesting up to a point, but it was straight up just drama between the two twins and nothing about the alchemy, which is what I was interested in. So I didn't really care for this book. And I know it's a big deal considering this book was nominated for like best sci-fi book on Goodreads. It had promise, but it really wasn't my cup of tea. Question number 2, Turkey. What book made you want to fall asleep? For this one, I think I want to choose Romanov by Nadine Brandes. So obviously this follows the Romanov family as they're put in exile, and it really strictly follows Anastasia and how she was able to escape her family's execution. But it was really just Anastasia going, how they could possibly think my father was a terrible czar is beyond me. He loved his people. He loved his family. And then she would just go on like sentences just on this topic. I'm like, all right, I get it. You don't think your dad's a bad person. Excuse me. Sorry. And some of her tangents would focus on being the importance of being a Romanov, to the point where like somebody was bleeding, and then there's this like monologue like, and I can hear the bloodline of the Romanov beating with every dying beat. Romanov, Romanov, Romanov. Okay, I get it. Family's super important. It was another book that was cool in theory, but I was rather bored with it. Question number 3, Gravy. What book makes the whole series worth reading? Well, this series isn't done yet. This is another new book that I recently read, A Tunnel of Bones. It's the second book to the Cassidy Blake series. It's by Victoria Schwab, and honestly, I enjoyed the first book, but the second book, so much better. Like, reading this second book gave me a whole lot more faith in this series as a whole, and so I was ready to, alright, if I don't like book 2 or meh on book 2, I think I'm just gonna like sit this one out. But nope, this second book has made me want to read book 3. Like, the overall stories of this one is basically Cassidy Blake has the ability to see ghosts and has the ability to like help ghosts move on to the other side. And the first book is like, okay, I didn't care for the villain, and it was just, I feel like the villain was a little too advanced for a book 1. I totally see this villain being maybe a book 3 sort of villain. I didn't care for the villain. I thought maybe it was a little too ambitious, but the poltergeist in book 2, I believe that wholeheartedly. I honestly feel like book 2 should have been a book 1. Question number 4, Stuffing. What book is stuffed full of action scenes? Oh, this one I didn't read this year, but it's Illuminate by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. It's the first book in a series, and it's basically the story of how these two kids have to escape their home planet because it's being attacked. And so they get on the ship and they're trying to outrun the people that are trying to kill them. But as they're trying to outrun them, a disease spreads out on the ship. The AI of the ship thinks it's being helpful by like taking out the sick people one by one. It's a whole lot of drama, a whole lot of action. I really digged it. Or dug it. Dug it? It's dug it, right? It's dug it. See, I ate too much turkey today. The brain's a little sluggish. I'm saying turkey, but it's most likely the wine I drink. And there's even scenes of like the girl like being all stealthy, like trying to sneak into rooms. Like that also puts you on the edge of your seat. It's not like bam in your face action, but there's definitely some tension there. Question number 5, mashed potatoes. What book looked good and then wasn't? Doesn't necessarily have to be a book that I rated 1 star. You know what? I'm actually gonna pick a roughly like a 3-star read. At least I'm pretty sure I rated it 3 stars. Yeah, 3.5 stars. The Hidden Power of Up by the Try Guys. Alright, so I really like their channel. I like them as a squad and as a group. They're really great and they're really great YouTubers. They're not the greatest voice actors. I listened to it as an audiobook. Ooh, I almost took out my light. I listened to this as an audiobook, and there were certain moments where they tried recreating reactions that they had, because the book is about them trying things that put them out of their comfort zone. And so while they were trying these things, they would go to the guys and get their reaction out of it, which is great for a book. Not so great when they have to like reenact it for the audiobook. They're not the, I'm trying to be very kind. They're not the greatest voice actors. Keith was fine because Keith was great. Ned was fine if he was with Keith or by himself. Eugene and Zach, no. When they were trying to be very sincere and very heartfelt, they were great. Just them trying to like go off of a script, no. Their charm is the, I guess the, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the impulsiveness of their interactions, and it's just, you couldn't get that from them trying to act out those moments with each other. I guess I guess that's how I want to word things. The book itself wasn't bad, it's just the performance. Yikes. There was also a moment where, I guess in the book, the guys told Ned, hey, no one cares you went to Yale, as he's talking about Yale, and so Ned goes, go away, this is my section. You saw that in the book. In the audiobook, all you heard was, go away, this is my section, but you didn't hear the guy say, hey, no one cares you went to Yale, so he reacted to nothing. Confused the heck out of me. And I was disappointed because I figured, oh, I like nonfiction books, especially when they're audiobooks, and that was not the case for this. Question number 6, Cranberries. What book has the sweetest romance? Sweetest romance. I don't read a whole lot of romance. And when I do read romance, I actually have very high standards to my romance. Like the slowest of burns. Like even when I'm finally begging for y'all to kiss, I really don't want them to kiss. Oh, okay, I got this. Mooncakes by Suzanne Walker. Basically, this werewolf and this witch get together while they're also trying to figure out why this sort of like evil spirit is in the woods. The werewolf is this non-binary person, and the witch is female, and they were childhood friends. And it's just really nice seeing these two people getting together. It was very sweet. It was very tentative and slow moving, but once they got together, it was really nice. Question number 7, corn. What's the corniest book you ever read? Corniest book I've ever read. I don't know. Give me a second. Yikes, sorry. That turkey. Or the wine. Most likely the wine, but we're going to say turkey. Oh, Don't Date Rosa Santos by Nina Marino. Overall, this was a cute romance book, but at times it got way too melodramatic for my personal taste. Like, this is about a girl who, I guess there's this like family curse that the woman falls in love with the sailor and the sailor dies at sea. And Rosa, this is basically their granddaughter. This happened to the grandmother, it happened to her mother, and now it's her turn to start finding romance, and she's been trying to avoid sailors, but she has this crush on a guy with a boat. And she wants to actually go to college in Cuba. Her grandmother escaped Cuba, and so the grandmother was not okay with this turn of events. Totally get that, but the romance aspect of the curse was just a lot. It was a soap opera in book form. Sometimes I'm in the mood for that, but when I read this, I wasn't in the mood for a soap opera. So this book was pretty corny. Question number 8, green beans. What book is too long and needs to be shortened? I guess the first thing that comes to mind, I feel like I see this book a lot, and I probably shouldn't say it again for this video, but Salem's Lot by Stephen King. That was far too long than it needed to be. This book is your typical Stephen King length. It's a real heft kind of book. And we're like 7/8 through the book. Like, the book is almost done and Stephen King is still introducing people. No, you don't need to do that. Yes, we have a main character. And the only reason I knew this guy was the main character was because of the synopsis behind the book. If it wasn't for this synopsis, I would have no idea who was meant to be the main character of this story. This was kind of like a Dracula retelling set in a Maine town, but everybody in this town, everyone I was forced to interact with, was just terrible people, except for this like priest and the main character that I was actually rooting for the vampire. So we had too many people, too much going along, and I just didn't like what I was reading. So this could have easily been shortened. Question 9, pumpkin pie. What book do you read to get out of a reading slump? I usually will pick a book that I can listen to as an audiobook. Usually audiobooks really help me out of a slump. And the best sort of book, usually as an audiobook for me, is a nonfiction book. I like listening about, other people's stories, especially when I know they're true. They're just more fascinating to me. So if my interest starts waning, I'll go for a nonfiction book. And I especially love it when the author themselves narrate it, which is why I was super disappointed in the Try Guys performance. Question 10, dog/cat. What's your favorite Thanksgiving food that you would steal from the table? Butternut squash. Like mashed butternut squash with cinnamon butter. Oh, it's my favorite so much. Delicious. Another one is, so my husband's grandfather, who's passed on, left the family this very specific family recipe for stuffing, which is basically white bread and a whole ton of cream. Yes, there's other elements in it, but the amount of cream in the stuffing is like, and you wouldn't expect to add so much cream to the stuffing, but you get this bread nice and moist, and you fry it up with other flavors, and it's delicious. My lactose intolerant behind hates me for it, but my stomach and my taste buds, it's a grand old time. Oh, I led up to that question thinking there was more questions, but that's it. That's all 10. Now I'm nervous I didn't get any. So bread, turkey, gravy, stuffing, mashed potatoes, cranberry, corn, green beans, pumpkin pie, dog, cat. Yeah, that's all the questions. If I seem to be missing one, I'll find out as I'm editing this video. Since today is Thanksgiving, I'm not going to tag anybody. Let me know down in the comments below of how you would answer some of these questions. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I guess it's ta-ta for now. Bye, guys.